Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Near Memo with David, Mike, and Greg. This is episode 169. We're here again to talk about Google, but we have a little soupçon of outside stuff today to talk about Red Ventures and CNET. So we're going to lead off with Mike talking about the GBP bugs and Google layoffs and how that's left kind of the Google support in a mess. We're also going to be talking, as I just mentioned, about Red Ventures unloading CNET to Ziff Davis and how that's going to play out in terms of Google rankings. And we'll end with a discussion of how the antitrust decision, the Google antitrust decision, could impact other people in the ecosystem and the potential development of an Apple search engine, which we've long been talking about and has never fully materialized. All right, so Mike, take it away.
So there's a number of things going on local that, as a local guide, I see them sort of up close, and I see the impact they have. Just a listing of some of these bugs. For example, in Europe, there's a profile image bug where images from around the internet are assigned to a mobile business profile, and the owner can do nothing about it. And Google apparently can't do anything about it either. And I had a case where a chicken farmer who was being attacked by an animal rights group, and their image shows up on his mobile profile, and he can't get rid of it. That's the kind of bug, and this has been going on for 18 months. Another really big bug is Google suspends a business because they suspect that the business isn't legitimate, but their algorithm to do this is over aggressive. Once they've suspended the business, they're incapable of recovering that business's reviews. They used to be able to, they no longer can. This has been going on at least since February. And when you ask for help with this, you escalate it. They say, we're working on it. We don't know when there's a solution. Bulk is a good example. There are just so many bugs in bulk that have been there. They kept promising they're going to fix them. Not only are they not fixed, but they're getting worse. And people can't even claim new listings in bulk without running through a raft of issues.
At least that bug won me a delicious beer in Brussels about 4 months ago, Mike. So I can that's a bug I'm okay with.
Yeah, but how long has that bug been going on, David?
Right, long time.
Long time. The map pin issue, where a user can move a business and totally break their LSA, break their rank. This is not a bug. This is a feature, but it hasn't been looked at. And now with review takedowns, if a business is in certain categories, Google takes down, and if they're relatively new, Google takes down a lot of legitimate reviews as part of their filter algorithm. And there is a process you can go to Google to reclaim them if you can show them the reviews, get them to reconsider them. But the process isn't working. And there is no recourse. You can no longer take those into the forum. And then on this review, on fake reviews, there's theoretically a process where you file them and then you can appeal them. That technical process is all broken. So it's like these problems used to occur regularly, but they would be fixed in 6 days if they were serious. This is my 666 rule, rule of the devil, right? 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months. Now I say to people, look, it's 60 days or 6 months or deep 6. We don't know when these problems are going to be. It's still a 666 rule. It's just so extended out, we have no idea. Now, this is happening in light of massive layoffs in 2023 and additional layoffs in 2024, which were not announced. Some of these people that were laid off have actually reached out to me and have had conversations with them in local. Google ostensibly laid these people off to raise capital so that they could fund their expensive AI experiments. And to me, it's like if you let the foundation of the house rot, it doesn't matter if you put in new windows in or new roof on, the house is ultimately going to fall down. Is that a good metaphor? I don't know. But it's just, I wonder why. It doesn't make any sense to me to not provide solutions to at least programmatic solutions. If they're not going to provide support solutions, which they apparently aren't, then at least provide programmatic solutions, which they aren't even doing that. In other words, as David pointed out in the pre-talk, you can't get to support to solve it, and you can't find an engineer to solve it either. Where does that leave the businesses and the world that depends on this product every day?
It leaves them out in the cold, but the why is a little more this is a theory, not necessarily fact, but a self-evident theory would be that local has basically never made Google money, and certainly relative to the current leadership, which seems very much geared around increasing search volumes and increasing ad display inventory. And it's like, with respect to local, I'm not sure that the dollar amounts on a typical, SMB from an SMB are going to be anything close to what they're getting from enterprise, e-commerce advertisers or, higher dollar B2B ads. And so that's clearly, to me, where the product investment is going is to where Google thinks the ad revenue is. And I think that they're under even more pressure now than they have been, because of our theory that real search volumes are actually flat or declining. So I think that they're just sort of, triple tightening their belts right now. And that the fact that local has really never shown significant revenue potential or significant revenues in the door, it certainly shows potential. But I think that that's probably a major factor in all these layoffs and lack of investment.
My belief is that local has become, Google's maybe chief differentiator versus other people. If you strip out local from Google and just have the organic results, I think it's not that different from other search engines. Local is really the data set that, they have the biggest and best and deepest data set. And even though it doesn't make them as much money directly, although they just added pop-up ads to maps, apparently, it's really strategic for them, especially for mobile users. And so this kind of neglect is really a very short-sighted, very short-sighted thing. And maybe they arrogantly believe the machines will do enough of the work that you can really reduce the humans. But I think it's kind of a crazy thing to be, it's like cutting yourself off at the knees as competition heats up, to me.
Although your point is that the data set's what's valuable, not, as David's point is, the small business is not. And their reliance on local guides, the algorithm to assemble the data, from their point of view, a business struggling in Tampa, Florida, because they lost 130 of their reviews,
I think that
is not a big data issue to them. And so
right.
I think it could be that they're maintaining the knowledge graph while abandoning the small business and even the medium-sized business, and paying more attention perhaps to the API. If you don't have the API these days and you're multi-location, life is pretty hard. If you're not working with Uberall or Sochi or one of these guys, life is very difficult to maintain those things. So maybe,
that could be like a selling point for them. The API, multi-location is broken. Work with us.
Well, I think it is with bulk. I mean, I wouldn't encourage anybody to use bulk these days. It is so buggy. But it does seem short-sighted to me. Go ahead.
I agree. It seems short-sighted for sure, but it also, to me, reinforces the importance of anti-self-preferencing regulations in Europe. If the quality of what Google is showing is degrading, and I think we can probably all agree on that topic, that there, at the very least, there's this lack of investment is, it's not like Google is innovating in this space if they're actively pulling dollars out of the teams that are working on these things. And so I think that the need for to allow for competitors who are investing in local to have, if not a level playing field, a more level playing field than what's there today is really, really important. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, for sure. One final point, and I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. Several years ago, this is also in Europe. Several years ago, one of the big tech platforms, it wasn't Google, it might have been Facebook, was ordered by I want to say one of the countries, Germany, but I'm not sure, to maintain a telephone number with a human that you could contact, right? So there was this mandate that you had to have a person that was reachable through a telephone number as a support function, and you couldn't just have everything be forms online or DIY or whatever kind of automated chat. And so that's kind of an interesting thing in the back of my mind in this discussion. Will the Europeans, I mean, probably not is the answer, because there are humans sort of do something that kind of requires Google to provide a bit more support. Probably not is the answer, but it was
Well,
just
what the DSA did along this line was require mediation on and transparency on moderation. And so now, if you have a dispute, like you're missing 130 reviews and Google doesn't return them, in Europe anyways, you can take that to a mediation. You have to pay $700, 700 euros, which seems cheap to me if you're missing 130 reviews, but there is no equivalent in the United States. There is sort of a formalized thing where the price is high enough that most businesses aren't going to do it. But in many cases, it would be worth it to dispute the moderation decision, which effectively this is. So,
and especially
anything
formalized.
Anything that's happening with LSAs or ads, their $700 is like not even a month's budget probably for most HVAC folks. So you would absolutely do that. Yeah.
Right.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.